Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to all of you on Defense Studies, and this is previous year question discussion series for CAPF Assistant Commandant exam, and these are polity questions which we are going to discuss now. And regarding me, these are few details if you want to know that about my background and about my qualifications. So let's get started. First question is, which of the following are the defining features of liberal democracy? So there are few types of democracy. One is liberal, another is representative, and there are many more. So in India there is liberal democracy. So if you know that India has liberal democracy, this question will be easier for you. So before reading the few statement, first of all we will analyze what is liberal democracy. It means that the decision making executive body will be subject to the rule of law. So nobody, the executive, either judiciary or the legislative body, will not be outside the purview of rule of law. ठीक है? And there will be a constraint on the leaders means there will be no autocracy, there will be no dictatorship. Every decision can be challenged in the court. So these are the few features of liberal democracy, and this liberal democracy, it is mainly inspired by French and American revolution. Now coming back to the question, first statement is constitutional government based on formal, usually legal rules. That means it is a liberal democracy. So what is constitutional government? Constitutional government का मतलब होता है limited government, means there is no absolute power with the government. So it is answerable either to the parliament or to the people. So first statement is right. Second is guarantees of civil liberty and individual rights. Yes, it is again a right statement. Third is it invests political authority with potential unlimited power. Now this is not a feature of this liberal democracy, because we know in constitutional government there is limited power. So our answer is B. 1 and 2 is our right statement. Next is, before going to the next, these are the few this types of government across the world. The yellow one, they are the semi-presidential republic. So the republic, this China, it is again a semi this presidential republic government. And this is red one is absolute monarchy. So in Saudi Arabia and Yemen it is of absolute monarchy. And where is constitutional monarchy? Constitutional monarchy lies here, the green one. It is in this Thailand and Laos. These are the Cambodia. These are the few countries. And what about India? India has this pink one. It is of parliamentary republic. So second question is, which one of the following statement regarding the DPSP, Directive Principle of State Policy, is not correct? So before going reading this for this statement, I want to tell something regarding to you the DPSP. What is DPSP? We have borrowed this Directive Principle of State Policy from Ireland. This is the future we have got from Ireland, and the article 36 to 51, it consists of DPSP and it lies in part 4. And there is a classification in DPSP, that is socialist, Gandhian and liberal. So these are the few this classification. And this DPSP has some amendment, means under 42nd Amendment Act and 44th and 86th Amendment Act, few more new DPSP got added. So this can be a question ke under which Amendment Act the DPSP got amended. It is an important fact. And we all know that DPSP is non-justiciable in nature, means it cannot be challenged in the court of law. And the fundamental rights can be amended to implement DPSP. Again, it means fundamental right has more say over DPSP. And article 37, it talks about the DPSP in general. So going back to the statement, first statement is the state shall follow the directive principle of state policy. We have to find out the wrong statement. First statement is correct. Second is directive principle of state policy embody the object of state under the republican constitution. Again, it is a right statement. Third is the directive principle of state policy have precedence over the fundamental rights in case of conflict between the two. As we have know that we have recently read that fundamental rights can be amended to implement DPSP, and the DPSP, it is non-justiciable in nature. So fundamental right has more say over DPSP. Third statement is wrong, and this is our answer also. Fourth, in this third question is, which of the following statement about Max Weber's ideal theory of bureaucracy? So the first statement is it refers to the dominant class character, and second is bureaucracy is associated with structural and behavioral characteristics. So before going to the answer, I want to tell something regarding you the bureaucracy. What is bureaucracy? It means bureaucracy restrict the power of official in regard to their responsibility and did not provide absolute power to them. So there is no absolute power with the bureaucracy, means the executive class, the IAS, the IPS and all India services and state services, these are called the bureaucracy. And what are the other features of bureaucracy? Means functioning of officials, means they have the fixed jurisdiction, they cannot go out of their jurisdiction to do some work. And the hierarchy we have seen, there is a joint secretary, there is a secretary and the chief secretary, so there is always a hierarchy in the bureaucracy. And the third is reliance on written documents, means you have to have a very substantial document with you. Through this you can derive your power. Like we have the central service conduct rules, the all India service conduct rules, through that they are conducting this, or they are driving their power. So the fourth is office management, and fifth is conduct in office, means how they are going to behave in a private domain like in society. Okay, this is the features of bureaucracy. So first statement is it refers to the dominant class character. Yes, it is a dominant class. We all know that Indian civil services, it is a dominant class. It do not mingle up with this society. They remain separated from the society. So second is bureaucracy is associated with structural and behavioral characteristics. We have seen that structural means hierarchy is there, and behavioral means how their conduct will be in society, in public or in office. So both the statement are correct. Moving to the next. Which of the following plans or report the decision with regard to the partition of Punjab and Bengal was to be taken on the basis of voting of the members of respective legislative assembly? So किसके अंडर लिया था ये? This is under Mountbatten plan. The decision to partition Punjab and Bengal, it was the Mountbatten plan, जो कब आया था? 3rd July 1947. This date is important. And what are the other features of this plan is the princely states can join either India or Pakistan. Two options were given to them, and the boundary commission to be set up to decide on the boundary after partition. कौन सी थी boundary commission? If you know, the Radcliffe commission. ठीक है. Moving to the next. And other important जो report अगर बात करें, नेहरू report, Cripps mission and Beveridge report. First is नेहरू report which came in under 1928. So इसमें क्या था? Dominion status was demanded. Other is rejection of separate electorates which was demanded by the Muslim. Another is linguistic state, citizen and fundamental rights. So these are the few features of Nehru report. Cripps mission कब आया था? After the failure of August mission 1940. उसके failure के बाद Cripps mission was there in 1942, and what it had offered to India, it offered dominion status to India, and appointment of constitutional making body was another major important feature of this Cripps mission plan. Another is fifth, which of the following is not provided for under the directive principle of states policy. So this is again the second question of DPSP. इससे आप पता लगा सकते हैं कि how DPSP fundamental rights they are the most important for CAPF examination. So the first statement is right to work, to education and public assistance in certain cases. This is the right statement. Uniform civil code for the citizen, yes, it is under article 44. And separation of judiciary from executive under article 53 or 50, sorry, under article 50 it is clearly mentioned. And जो ये separation of judiciary from executive है, ये 2020 civil service examination में भी पूछा गया था. So the D is participation of worker in the management of local self-government. Not in the local self-government, but in the management of industries. It is clearly mentioned in this article 43A. The participation of worker in management of industries. Moving to the next, the voter verifiable paper audit trail, VVPAT in short, system was used for the first time by the Election Commission of India in, it is again a factual question. Answer is B, Noksen Assembly Constituency of Nagaland. 7 is which of the following authorities cannot organize Lok Adalat. So these are the features of or the types of local government. So Lok Adalat kya hai? Lok Adalat is a form where the cases which are pending in a court or which are at pre-litigation state, means the litigation is not filed at the court but they are the pre-litigation, are comprised or settled in amicable manner, means outside the court, that is both the parties will find a amicable solution. So isse kya hoga, there will be a reduction in stress on over the judiciary. So we all know there are lot of cases and the judiciary is under stress. So to remove that burden over the judiciary, we have find out another means like Lok Adalat, so that can deal with the petty crimes. And the system is based on Gandhian principle, and the Lok Adalat has been given statutory status under this 1987 Act of Legal Service Authority. So which of the following authorities cannot organize Lok Adalat? Answer is Panchayat Committee. They do not have the power to organize Lok Adalat. To cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for freedom is a provision of which of the following of the Constitution of India? First statement is directive principle of the state policy. Second is fundamental duties. We all know this is a feature of fundamental duties. अभी हम देखेंगे fundamental duties क्या है. Fundamental duties, it is inspired from USR Constitution and it was incorporated to our Constitution of India by the recommendation of Savan Singh Committee. और 42nd Amendment Act के अंदर ये इंक्लूड किया गया था कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया में. एंड देयर वाज आल्सो वन मोर फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज को ऐड किया गया था अंडर 86th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट एक्ट ऑफ 2002. ठीक है, दीज आर द 11 फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज. जो हमारी 11 थी, दिस वाज एडेड अंडर 86th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट एक्ट, ये आपको याद रखना होगा. 9th इज विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग डज नॉट फॉल अंडर द डेफिनेशन ऑफ मनी बिल. सो व्हाट इज मनी बिल? मनी बिल एक पार्ट है एक फाइनेंशियल बिल का. सो द फाइनेंशियल बिल आर ऑफ 3 काइंड्स. फर्स्ट इज मनी बिल जो कि अंडर आर्टिकल 110 के अंडर है, एंड द फाइनेंशियल बिल इज अंडर आर्टिकल 117 क्लॉज 1, एंड द फाइनेंशियल बिल टाइप 2 इज 117 क्लॉज 3. सो जो एक स्टेटमेंट आती है दैट ऑल मनी बिल्स आर फाइनेंशियल बिल बट ऑल फाइनेंशियल बिल आर नॉट मनी बिल. सो इट इज अ करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट. तो हमें इस क्वेश्चन में क्या फाइंड आउट करना है कि मनी बिल के फीचर क्या है. मनी बिल कब कहा जाता है? तो अंडर आर्टिकल 110 में इट इज क्लियरली डिफाइंड दैट देयर आर 7 फीचर्स ऑफ मनी बिल. अगर इनमें से 7 फीचर में से एनी ऑफ द फीचर इज इन द बिल और उससे कुछ डील हो रहा है उन फीचर्स से, सो इट विल बी कॉल्ड एज अ मनी बिल. एंड व्हाट आर दोस 7 फीचर्स? like the imposition, abolition, remission or regulation of any tax that is come under the money bill. So आधार को जो आधार बिल है, why आधार बिल is called as money bill? Because it is regarding this this appropriation of money out of consolidated fund of India. And the now coming back to the question, first statement is amendment of law with respect to any financial obligation undertaken by the government of India. Yes, this is the correct statement. B is payment of money into the consolidated fund of India. As we have seen, the appropriation money out of consolidated fund of India, it is a feature. C is any financial bill as per requirement of Article 117. No, any financial bill is not come under money bill. So C statement is wrong, and that is our answer also. Question number 10. Which one among the following is not the central feature of polyarchy? Polyarchy, monarchy, anarchy, and oligarchy. These are certain forms of a government. And the polyarchy में क्या होता है? Which means rule by many. And monarchy में होता है rule by one. So the polyarchy means rule by many, and it describes the process of democratization in contrast to democracy itself. So कौन सा ऐसा फीचर नहीं है पोलियार्की का जो इस चार स्टेटमेंट में दिया गया है? फर्स्ट इज गवर्नमेंट इज इन द हैंड ऑफ इलेक्टेड ऑफिशियल. यस. राइट टू रन फॉर ऑफिस इज रेस्ट्रिक्टेड. नो, पोलियार्की में रेस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं होता राइट टू रन फॉर ऑफिस, वो ऑथोराइज होता है. सो दिस इज अ रॉन्ग स्टेटमेंट. C is practically all adults have the right to vote. Yes, there is free expression and right to criticize and protest. Again a right. Which of the following pairs of list and content is or are correctly matched? So these are the features of federal government. So the state list, union list and concurrent list under schedule 7 तीन लिस्ट है हमारे पास. ये क्या दिखाती है? दैट आवर कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हैज अ फेडरल फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट आल्सो, लाइक देयर इज अ डिवीजन ऑफ पावर. फर्स्ट इज पब्लिक हेल्थ एंड सैनिटेशन. क्या ये स्टेट लिस्ट का है? यस. यूनियन लिस्ट के अंडर क्या क्या है? सिटीजनशिप. एज वी ऑल नो द सिटीजन अमेंडमेंट एक्ट जो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट लेके आई है. नेचुरलाइजेशन एंड एलियंस के रिगार्डिंग जो भी लॉ बनाएगी वो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट बनाएगी. कंकरेंट लिस्ट का मतलब है स्टेट और सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट दोनों लॉ बना सकती है. सो व्हाट आर दोज सब्जेक्ट? दैट इज लीगल, मेडिकल and other profession. So all the statements are right. 12th is which of the following is not true of 10th schedule of the Constitution of India pertaining to disqualification of members of parliament and state legislature. तो 10th schedule इन्होंने डायरेक्ट एंटी डिफेक्शन ना लिख के 10th schedule दे दिया है. ठीक है, तो आपको पता होना चाहिए. एंड व्हाट इज इन द 10th schedule? इट वाज added in the constitution by 52nd Amendment Act of 1985 and 10th schedule was also added. और 91st Amendment Act of 2003 के अंदर क्या हुआ था? There was again an amendment in the this 10th schedule और एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ के अंदर. उसमें क्या था? दैट 15% ऑफ द टोटल स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ लोकसभा एक सीलिंग रख दी थी कि द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर विल नॉट गो बियॉन्ड और एक्सीड 15% ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ लोकसभा. नाउ कमिंग बैक टू द क्वेश्चन, इन्होंने पूछा है कि कौन सी स्टेटमेंट ट्रू नहीं है रिगार्डिंग एंटी डिफेक्शन लॉ और 10th शेड्यूल. फर्स्ट इज शेड्यूल लेज डाउन दैट इलेक्टेड मेंबर मे बी डिस्क्वालिफाइड ऑन द ग्राउंड ऑफ डिफेक्शन. यस, इट इज अ करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट. B is disqualification on ground of defection does not apply in case of merger with another political party. This is a wrong statement. अगर merger होगा तो उन्होंने define करना है कि two third merger is required if they want to get outside the purview of anti-defection. So B is a wrong statement and our answer also. And C is cases of dispute are decided by the speaker. Yes. The Supreme Court of India is the final arbitrator in case that remains unresolved. तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट फाइनल डिसीजन लेगा. इनिशियल डिसीजन कौन लेता है? स्पीकर ऑफ द लोकसभा रिगार्डिंग द डिफेक्शन. एक इंपॉर्टेंट केस है किहोतो होलन केस ऑफ 1993. सुप्रीम कोर्ट declared that the present residing officer, that is the speaker, while deciding a question under the 10th schedule function as tribunal. और ट्राइब्यूनल जो भी बॉडी एक्ट करती है वो अंडर द परव्यू ऑफ जुडिशियल रिव्यू होता है. सो जो भी बॉडी एक्ट एज ए ट्राइब्यूनल इट्स कम्स अंडर द परव्यू ऑफ जुडिशियल रिव्यू. सो यहाँ से जो डिफेक्शन के केसेस थे सुप्रीम कोर्ट उनको रिव्यू कर सकता था, ठीक है। दैट इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ अवर जुडिशियल सिस्टम। 13 is consider the following statement relating to short notice question. Three type of question is there question R में, that one is starred question, unstarred question and short notice question. You will not believe, मुझे CAPF को जो असिस्टेंट कमांडेंट का इंटरव्यू था, फाइनल इंटरव्यू में मुझसे ये क्वेश्चन पूछा गया था कि हाउ मेनी टाइप्स ऑफ क्वेश्चन आर बीइंग आस्क्ड इन द पार्लियामेंट। दिस क्वेश्चन वाज, सो यू नेवर नो कौन सा आपकी नॉलेज कहाँ काम आ जाए, यू विल नेवर नो। So the first is these related to matter of urgent public importance and can we ask for an oral answer at a notice less than 10 days. Yes, it is a right statement. मैंने ये जो डेटा है regarding the short notice question I have taken it from लोक सभा site only. So इसमें दिखाया गया कि admissibility of any question, इसमें क्या है, द एडमिसिबिलिटी ऑफ शॉर्ट नोटिस क्वेश्चन इज जज्ड ऑन टू क्राइटेरिया, दो क्राइटेरिया। फर्स्ट इज उसका जो सब्जेक्ट मैटर है जो क्वेश्चन का मस्ट बी अर्जेंट एंड द मिनिस्टर कंसर्न शुड एग्री टू आंसर इट, जिससे वो क्वेश्चन पूछा गया है दैट पर्टिकुलर मिनिस्टर शुड बी एग्री टू आंसर इट। एंड अनदर इज द मिनिस्टर कंसर्न एग्री टू आंसर ए शॉर्ट नोटिस क्वेश्चन बट द स्पीकर इज ऑफ द ओपिनियन दैट क्वेश्चन नॉट इज ऑफ अर्जेंट नेचर। अगर स्पीकर ये बोल दे कि दिस क्वेश्चन इज नॉट ऑफ अर्जेंट नेचर, दैट द क्वेश्चन विल नॉट बी इंट्रोड्यूस इन द हाउस। सो फर्स्ट इज अ करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट। सेकंड इज short notice question can be admissible if the minister concerned agrees to answer is, yes, correct. Third is short notice question are asked during question hour, it is a wrong statement. So our answer is B, first and second. And what are the other devices of parliament proceedings? Parliamentary proceedings means through the legislature kept control over the executive or the council of minister. So जो सरकार पे थोड़ा बहुत नियंत्रण रखने के लिए what are the features do have this parliamentarians, the MPs के पास क्या क्या features या tools हैं to have a control over the executive or the current government. These are the question R, 0R, motions कितने टाइप के हैं, closer motion, privilege motion, calling attention, adjournment motion, and another is censure motion. Fourth point is point of order, special mention, resolution, youth parliament. So these are the certain tools. Another is which of the following statement about Attorney General of India is not correct. Attorney General का जो आर्टिकल वो आपको याद करना है, that is article 76. उनका appointment is by the president and he receive remuneration as the president may decide, and he enjoys all the privileges and immunities that are available to the member of parliament. Though he is not a full-time counsel for the government, he can also fight cases for any body also. ठीक है, तो we have to find out the not correct statement. First is he shall have the right to speak in the house of parliament. Yes, it is a correct statement. Second is he shall have a right of audience in all courts in the territory of India. Yes, he must have the same qualification as a required to be a judge of Supreme Court. Yes, and he is a full-time counsel for the government of India. No, he is not a full-time counsel. Our answer is D. Means with the permission of the government of India, he can fight private cases also. समझ गए? तो अगर कोई प्राइवेट इंडिविजुअल वांट्स टू हायर द अटॉर्नी जनरल ऑफ इंडिया, ही कैन फाइट फॉर हिम आल्सो विद द प्रायर अप्रूवल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया. 15th question is which of the following are the essential requirement for a person to be appointed as a member of finance commission. Right now it is the 15th finance commission. तो फाइनेंस कमीशन का आर्टिकल कौन सा है, 280. इट इज अ क्वासी जुडिशियल बॉडी एंड प्रेसिडेंट इट इज द सोल अथॉरिटी जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूट करती है फाइनेंस कमीशन को. इनका कंपोजिशन क्या है, एक तो चेयरमैन है और 4 अदर मेंबर होंगे, और इनका टेन्योर कितना होता है जो प्रेसिडेंट डिसाइड करेगा अपने ऑर्डर में. एंड दे आर एलिजिबल फॉर द रीअपॉइंटमेंट, और दीज आर द सम क्वालिफिकेशन चेयरमैन की होनी चाहिए जो he should be a judge of a high court and a person who has specialized knowledge regarding the finance and account of the government. These are the few qualification. So coming back to the question, first statement is a Supreme Court judge or one qualified to be appointed as such. Again, it's a wrong statement because we have seen a judge of a high court is a minimum condition to be a chairman. So first is wrong. बचे कौन सी 2 and 3, तो आप यहीं से इसको गलत भी कर सकते हैं, फर्स्ट ये और ये. सो आंसर लेफ्ट इज सी. थर्ड स्टेटमेंट और देख लेते हैं. ए पर्सन हैविंग स्पेशल नॉलेज ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स. यस. So these are the 15 questions which were asked in 2019 exam of CAPF Assistant Commandant exam. Again, we would like to make an announcement that if any person feels that he needs a personal guidance for paper 2 and paper 1, he can contact us in the given description, and also we will bring up with another new topics, another this current affairs and this new development regarding the CAPF examination. So keep on following us. We will provide you updated material. So goodbye. Thank you.